Morning, Curtis. It's Sunday morning. How are you doing?
Oh man, it's a beautiful Sunday morning. I'm just doing fantastic. How about yourself, David?
Doing well. I have about 30 minutes or so maybe before I go play pickleball. So I thought maybe we would talk about, um, Monday that tomorrow the stock market opens and just wondering what you're thinking about getting into.
Well, I can tell you what I am feeling for the week. I basically feel that uh, Bitcoin is the place to be. I definitely see that we're going to, at least this is my confident intuition feeling that the tide has turned in Bitcoin's favor once again. I feel like we're going to be, above 70 this week. So I've got some Bitcoin. I'm happy about that. I don't plan on doing much trading with that, just holding it, adding to it. I am going to be doing some option trading in MicroStrategy, buying some calls on any dips and probably taking the profit and buying actual Bitcoin with it. But that's how I'm feeling so far. How about yourself?
Well, I'm actually feeling the same. As I told you on the phone earlier, I feel like, that dream where you know the result of a horse race before it happens, and you can go and place your bet at the window. I kind of feel like I I have that, except it's not just one race. It's kind of like a continuous race that I think goes on for the next few years. And so, yeah, I'm excited to trade some Bitcoin proxies, like MicroStrategy, like BITO, um, things like that, and take the proceeds and add to the Bitcoin stack. Um, also got some stuff going with Robinhood, Amazon, Meta, all those are trading the way I trade and selling options. Those are all printing money right now. And what I've been doing is, either holding on to the cash, building that stash up, or buying shares of those in kind. But I think I may start taking some of that money and adding to the Bitcoin stash as well.
Hmm.
So you're holding some stuff over the weekend?
Yeah, I am. I actually do have quite a bit of Robinhood. I have a Robinhood calls expiring on 4/19 and 3/22, and between the two of them, I'm holding. I don't know. Well, quite a bit. I don't know if I'm allowed to say how many positions I'm holding, but I'm
Yeah, we
holding.
need. Yeah, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment only.
Right.
Let's talk about why we think Robinhood is bullish. What's the bullish case for Robinhood in your mind?
I think that Robinhood has the most robust mobile app, and bottom line is everybody's on their phone, everybody's on the go, and you need to be able to catch a fish when the fish comes by, and just to be honest, I don't like the mobile app of anybody else out there other than Robinhood. I hate to say it. I mean, if you're just an investor buying for the long hold, they all work just fine. But if you're actually doing any active trading, the only one that I've really found to be robust has been Robinhood, and because I'm on the move, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, the user interface on Robinhood is spectacular. They even had to settle a case, I think it was in Arizona, because it was so good that they say that they gamified investing. So they've had to pay a few $1 million over to that government. For trading options, I think it's the greatest one. It's the easiest one to put a spread together. I roll options a lot because I sell options and roll them. They make it so easy. Um, I like the fact that I like buying crypto on there as well. Um, it's cheaper than Coinbase. It's, your money's already there. Coinbase has crashed a few times now that when Bitcoin is rallying, and you haven't had that with Robinhood. You're able to withdraw crypto off of Robinhood now, and they just expanded to the UK. And I
Yep.
think that they'll probably spread throughout. They have the potential to spread throughout Europe, spread throughout the world possibly. And The stock's had a nice little run lately. I guess when I started really trading it, it was at $11, maybe $10, and now it's headed towards 17. And I just see that continuing to happen. They attracted a lot of people from any account. If you brought money over, it was 1%. If it was a retirement account, if you transferred money to them, it was 3%. Then they have a incredible 3% matching,
Mm.
you know, bonus in your IRA, and nobody's got that. So their assets under management, I think, are just going through the roof. To me, it's been pretty glitch free since the GameStop days, which they did lose a lot of people, but I think they're coming back. And I was with TD Ameritrade forever, and we got shifted over to Schwab, and that I just can't stand the Schwab interface. It's just like, it's terrible. And, to be forced into that, it's like I want to everything new I'm doing is with Robinhood. I may keep my Schwab just for my buy and hold, but it's really hard and ugly to trade options in.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's on the go, and you're right. That GameStop debacle was terrible, and I really honestly feel I understand the anger towards Robinhood. Robinhood guys, yo, that wasn't cool at all. But besides that, we're in a new day now, and I guess the app itself, I find it makes me money. That's what I can say. Just knowing where things are that rapidly on the go to me gives me an edge that is important if I'm active trading. Hey, if I look like I'm swatting at myself like I am, actually, it's beautiful here in Austin. So I'm standing on my porch right now instead of sitting at my desk, which I prefer. But there is this gnat that is flying around my head somewhere. So I'm not like, on some drugs or
You're not
anything.
insane.
No, I'm not insane. I'm drinking coffee, but that's about it.
All right, so we agree on Robinhood. We agree on
Yeah.
Bitcoin,
Yep.
and we're going to try to trade the proxies around that. What else? What else are you into? Are you still in your C3 AI?
I sold quite a bit on Friday morning, not because I'm not still bullish on the stock. In fact, if I had to pick a stock right now to be bullish on, that is my number one pick. That I personally think that has the furthest room to run right now. And yeah, I really like C3 AI. So I'm
What do
holding
you?
some.
That begs the question, what do you like? What do you like about it? I know you like the
uh,
small market cap.
I like the small market cap. I like the fact that they're basically doing the same thing that Palantir is doing, but Palantir just seems to have gotten a head start on them, and they seem to be holding their own. And they're getting government contracts, they're getting corporate contracts, they're getting international contracts. I think that they let go. 1 quarter ago, they let go of a lot of their staff, and those were probably people that helped build a lot of the system. But once the system is built, how many people do you need to run it? Well, they probably had to shave that off, and there they go. So to me, it just seems like it has a lot of room to run. And if Palantir is any indicator, that would be kind of what I'm measuring it against.
Yeah, I talked to you last week. I almost went into it. I almost traded Palantir. It dropped below 25 for a second, and I almost jumped in and traded the way you do, which was to buy some calls, and I didn't, but I watched it and it came back up. And I think we talked about it's making higher highs and higher lows. So I look and think if it drops back below 25, I might get in and do some of that again, or not again, but for the first time. Um, I think we talked some about Apple.
Actually, for a second, I want to go back to Palantir and
Oh, yes,
C3.
sir.
I think it's a good idea. At least I'm going to be bold and just say I am going to put what I would consider to be a price target, a near term price target on C3 AI of 35, comfortable 35.
What is it, like
Anything below
30, 32 right now?
it's under 32. It's like
Okay.
3160 or something. Um,
So
and to
10%
me,
upside short term.
absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Anything above that, who knows? That could be gaseous, but that's that. Palantir, I say anything over 25 is healthy. I think they've had a good run. I don't know how much further they're going to go in the near term before next quarter, but I definitely would say I'm confident to say they're going to be over 30 after the next earnings report. I have no
Yeah.
idea what they're going to report, but I just can see their trajectory and say, unless some unforeseen black swan comes along, that's just what I'm vibing.
Okay. Um, Apple, Apple seems to be like, just, I thought there was a good opportunity for the way that I trade, which is selling puts or writing covered calls mostly.
Mm-hmm.
When it dipped right below 170, it sold some 160 puts and it seemed to pop back up. I think Apple really wants to stick around at least 170 and it recovers quickly. And, um, I'm watching that one. I think there's been weakness there since they dropped out of the car race. And I'm don't think that the Vision Pro gave them that much momentum. But you hear a lot that behind the scenes there's a lot of AI going, and of course they do have a lot of data because we all have our Apple devices, and I'm pretty sure they can collect data from it. Um, what are your thoughts on Apple? And I know you're not trading it right now. What would it take for you to start trading it again?
Not much. I'm about to start trading it again. I definitely think that no matter whatever happens in the narrative, Apple always finds a way to maintain their position. They their systems are incredibly well optimized from a corporate, fiscal, financial. I mean, uh, technological. But to be completely honest, I thought that the car thing was silly from day one. It seemed like a joking pissing match between Apple and Tesla, to be bold. Sorry, guys, it's just what it was. I think that Apple never had any intention of really going the car route. I think they decided to pursue it a little bit because they can afford to check something out, but it didn't work. It wasn't a good idea for them. Um, I think that the goggles or the new Vision Pro, I think that's awesome on a commercial application level. I see a lot of companies probably are going to buy that, a lot of training, a lot of simulators, a lot of, all that kind of thing. It's going to be great. But in the near term, they're a wonderful stockpile of cash. I think the nugget, dun dun dun, the nugget that I am kind of ruminating on with Apple, and I like to be bold, so I'm gonna be bold. I think, and this is just a suggestion. Maybe they're doing it, maybe they're not. I've heard some scuttlebutt that they might be, but I think that they need to get into healthcare. I think that Apple Care eventually probably will cover people, and we'll be able to purchase our healthcare plans probably through Apple instead of some of the healthcare providers that are out there.
And I guess you'd be required to wear like an Apple Watch or something else where they can monitor your vitals so they could maybe figure out how to do a risk assessment.
Amen. That's exactly what they would do. And that way they could optimize their systems. And if all of a sudden big tech starts to severely acquire pharma, and bring the cost of drugs down like Mark Cuban's doing to a reasonable level, then they can bring the profit up in the care aspect of things, pay nurses and doctors a bit more, and have more profit on the actual healthcare side for everybody. I think there's a bit too much greed in pharma. Uh, but anyway, that's a whole other discussion. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and Amazon's moving it has moved into healthcare. They're trying to be your pharmacy.
yep.
Of course, they've got distribution. Obviously, they've got great distribution. Um, so yeah, I've heard you say that about Apple and healthcare. That'll be interesting. Um,
But the watch is the component. The watch is the component that would enable them to be able to say, hey, you buy your healthcare through us, you get a free watch. It may not be the top watch that we have, but you get a free Apple Watch if you get your health care through us. And that way we can monitor you and send you recommendations throughout the day or throughout the month or the year, whatever, that say, hey, you're not sleeping enough, or you stop breathing in your sleep, or whatever. And, you know, keep people alive longer. Live, what is it?
Yeah.
Live long and prosper.
I mean, what Apple's got is so many people use their devices and they're all integrated and you're using their apps. And so they have an inroad in so many things, you know. I mean, it'd probably be nice to have your robot integrated into the Apple system.
Exactly. Now that right there is something I haven't thought about until literally about 4 seconds before you mentioned it, and it just dawned on me. I think Apple gets a few ideas from Tesla. I wouldn't be surprised if they're working on a robot. I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, well, with the car, I think what they probably found out is like people that have uh, competitors that have bought a Tesla and disassembled it and looked at what they had. They basically said, I can't compete with this. And
Mm-hmm.
where they can't compete that they didn't realize too is the infrastructure. You know, there's Tesla chargers all over the place and they keep adding. And, you know, so much so that a lot of the Tesla's competitors now are going to be leasing space to use the Tesla superchargers, which is another great source of income for Tesla, which I don't think is baked in yet. And also, I think that if you're driving a Volkswagen and you're charging it at a Tesla place and you see all the Tesla cars, next time it comes up for you to buy an electric vehicle, you might look long and hard at Tesla. So I think it's a way for them to steal customers from their competitors as well. And
That's right.
because the competitors are relying on leasing charger space, they at that point stop trying to build out their own charger system and they just get even more behind the curve on infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super bullish on Tesla. Their Optimus robot is insane. Their infrastructure, they're ahead of the game. Their cars are amazing. The Tesla S Plaid for under $100,000 gives you over 1,000 horsepower. And to do that in an internal combustion engine is probably a $2-3 million car. And it does it quietly. It does it without any maintenance, does it without having to show up at a gas station. I mean, there's really hardly any maintenance on a Tesla, even the brakes, because you do regenerative braking and you just time it and you stop at a light without even touching your brakes.
Yeah.
Uh, I just think they're so far ahead of the curve, and then you see all these other companies dropping out. They just can't compete, or if they want to compete, for example, Rivian, they can lose $100,000 a car, and they can, you know, but I don't know how long you can compete that way. And I saw a picture of the Rivian line versus the Tesla line, and one looks like the future, and one looks like a bunch of like old Land Rovers.
That's right.
Um, so I think one of the best values we have out there right now is Tesla. Um, and one of the greatest things he's done for investors is the stuff that he's writing and doing on X politically, because I think people are taking a political stance in not supporting Tesla right now. But when it comes right down to it, greed wins all. And when people realize how far ahead of the curve he is and how great the stock is doing, they're going to jump in regardless of, of political belief. But right now, people are looking at just like Chinese delivery numbers and what Elon Musk is saying on X, and the stock price has dropped. But I really believe that Tesla will end up to be top 5 company in the world at some point because of their robotics, because of their AI. Every single car that's out there driving on Tesla yeah, they get the software upgrades, which by the way, they're the only company that does that, where car can actually get better over time, but it communicates the other way as well. And they are so far ahead in number of miles driven and information that they have that, I mean, for Waymo, which I think is one of their competitors, it's it could possibly be 1,000,000 to 1 in miles. And so they're going to win the full self-driving race. And then if the car is actually full self-driving and there's no danger really for accidents, or it's dropped weight, so much, then I do think that robo-taxi becomes a very interesting thing. So you buy a Tesla and then you hook into the software and it taxis people around without you in it. And so that may make you want, if that's making money for you, you might want to have 2, 3, 4, you might have your own little fleet. And there's just nobody that's touching that.
I agree. 100%.
So now that it's
100%.
down, to 170, everything else, NVIDIA's gone bonkers. Everything's gone bonkers. They want to drop Tesla from the Magnificent Seven, but I think what they are offering, not to mention their battery technology and their battery leverage and their power packs and their energy, everything like that. I didn't understand Tesla for a long time, but now I own 2, and I've been paying attention a little bit more. And I just think it's an incredible story. I actually think Kathy Wood is right, and it's going to explode. It's one of the best values right now. I hope Elon keeps twittering away in a way that pisses people off, because for people that understand what's going on, it just creates an incredible buying opportunity.
So it's really, really funny you say that, because I am, again, I like going out on limbs. So I'm sure people are going to enjoy writing about this stuff in the comments. But I wonder if sometimes, Elon takes his full liberty of what he does and says publicly as an advantage to keep the stock price at a point that he can reacquire it. Not specifically for that reason, but I mean, we're all benefiting from it, whether we agree with his politics or not. You're exactly right. I mean, in the end of the day, people are still going to invest in the technology of the future. And at some point, Elon probably won't be a part of Tesla other than financially. I mean, he's going to get older. He has other things going on. He's already talked about stepping away from Tesla if he could find the right CEO. He's put a lot of his time and effort into it, and to be completely honest, I respect the guy on a large level. But I also think he probably, and he had said this, he's getting a little tired from time to time. But the company's not. So anyway, I don't know how much that really plays into it, but I just think it's timely that you mentioned that now is a great buying opportunity, and I completely agree with you that ultimately. People are going to invest in the technology that Tesla's bringing to the table, regardless of Elon's leanings one way or another, which I don't even really think are very extreme, but he certainly opens up the door to controversy, which I don't have a problem with,
Well, he definitely can say whatever the heck he wants. It's his prerogative.
Amen. Cheers.
But I think that if you're like trying to, go where you hit, what does Gretzky say? You hit the hockey puck where you think it's going. Help me with that one. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've heard it, but it's not coming to mind. Sorry,
All right.
brother.
So anyway, my point being, looking in the future.
I think
And
it's when you hit the puck, make sure you aim for the goalie's teeth.
Yeah. So what I think is the future and the disruptive technology now that's going to shape the future. And I'm probably the millionth person to say this. It's AI, it's robotics, and I think that it's a new currency. A non inflationary currency. And Tesla's in 2 of the 3. I think with AI, they have so much information. They're leading the pack there. I think they're in there with the full self-driving, with their robotics. And, I just think, and plus they own some Bitcoin, but I just think they are in the future, they're lined up. The other thing I think that's interesting is that they will, at some point, you know, Starlink, which is, I
Oh,
guess,
there you go.
SpaceX throws up all the satellites,
Hmm.
and Tesla will get the benefit of internet anywhere, anywhere and everywhere in their vehicles. I think at some point, it may be an add-on, and then that would be, I think, I would pay a $15.99 per month add-on. So if I had full internet anywhere I went in the car, that
Oh
would be
yeah.
amazing. Um,
Then there's the Starlink thing with the jets.
what's that?
The the commercial basically for private jets. You can get because right now if you own a private jet, you can't get internet. I mean, you can, but it costs $2,000 an hour to put internet in your plane, like to use it. So if you're flying, if you have a private
Oh
jet
yeah.
right now, and the Starlink thing is like $2,000 a month or something, or no, it's $10,000 a month. But if you're flying, you know, 5 hours a day, if you have a company that's flying 5 hours a day somewhere, some executive in the company's going somewhere. I mean, that's 10,000 a day. That's you're saving 300% on and having much better internet on the plane. So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like they always say, what is it? Larry Ellison says I would never bet against Elon Musk, and Charlie Munger said I would never bet against Elon Musk, but he also said I wouldn't bet with him either. But anyway,
Well, Charlie
Elon.
also said that you know, Bitcoin is contrary to, I guess, the morals of civilization. I guess he liked better that central banks could just keep printing money as much as they want to fund anything and everything that they can. Um, I guess he liked inflation.
Well, I think at the time he said that as well, like Bitcoin was not as globally legitimate as it actually is now. I think that some things have taken place in the last year that, like the ETFs and Bankman Fried going to jail, and the fact that honestly that Bitcoin transactions and are really not anonymous anymore. Like they can be tracked. So I mean, it was being used for a lot of criminal activity, I think, at the time he said it, but I think now it's actually moving into its own as more of a just a global exchange of value.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm bullish on it. But if you had asked me a year ago, I mean, I'd have been like, dump all of it. It's junk, honestly. Like unless you're wealthy enough to buy and hold and not care, I would just say no way. But now I'm all in on it. Like every
Okay.
spare bit of money that I have, I'm using Bitcoin as a savings account.
Well, you're a smart man. You're a smart man. They're
Well,
not making it. They're not making any more of it.
yeah,
Well,
and
I guess they are mining. They're mining it, but there's a cap, right? So I think there'll be ultimately about 17 million in existence. And when you have divide that by all the people in the world, I think that they said the most you could have is 0.21 per person or something like that. So some people have thousands and tens of thousands. And so it's going to be a very scarce asset.
It's an interesting question. Is just to throw this out there, and I know, like, is on one hand you could buy a Bitcoin miner, and if you didn't have to pay for electricity, how profitable is that? How much, you put up X amount of money, say $40,000, and then on the other hand, and you're going to mine a small bit of Bitcoin. On the other hand, you take the same $40,000 and you trade it in and out. How much Bitcoin can your brain mine as opposed to the machine? So I think this is kind of like the reason I bring this up is not just in Bitcoin, but also algorithmic trading. Different people I know have asked about, oh, what about AI trading systems? Like, you're a day trader and a swing trader, but have you thought about putting money into AI trading systems? And I'm just like, I don't, from the research I've done, it seems that an intuitive, connected human brain is still better than the algorithms. What do you think?
I had an opportunity to invest with a young man, he's in Ivy League school right now, and he's already got a ton of assets under management. And he has an algorithm and it's working, and he's making incredible sums of money.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm open-minded to it for sure. I think it could be very successful. I guess the thing is, what comes to my mind is if everybody's kind of got the same algorithm, what's successful, then doesn't it stop being successful because you need other people on the other side of the trade. But it's a very interesting time. AI is getting into everything, and it'll get into trading as well. I think for you and I, we enjoy trading, and we also trade in the non-algorithmic way. It's more of an art form for us than a science.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, I'm sure that people make a ton of money, and I'll tell you, who make a ton of money are the people that create the programs and sell it subscription wise to people. Um, but that'll be interesting to see how it goes. AI is bringing changes in everything. Like,
You
for
know,
example, web design. I mean, you don't even need to write code anymore. AI will just make your website for you. So it's going to be eliminating jobs like crazy. And I think that's kind of a dangerous thing. You have to figure out what it is that you do that isn't going to be taken away by AI and by robots. Or maybe we end up where we don't actually have to be very productive. We're on a universal income system, and we just live our lives with in normal means and don't have to be productive. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. It's a very interesting time. I think we're old enough to be able to, I mean, young enough to see some of it, but too old to probably see a whole different world.
yeah,
And
man.
with that, I kind of need to get going to do my thing. Maybe we'll reconvene tomorrow morning, Curtis.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. I would like to just remind us to think about something because I know you have to run. Based on what you were just saying, which is really cool, is you know creative trading and being right brain. Like, what does having all that money do for us as a society? If we don't have to toil as hard in our work, we should be training our brains to be more creative and be more enjoying of everything. We have more time on our hands. So one thing I just want to leave everyone with is when I'm trading, I've always got music on. I'm dancing around my kitchen. I'm not parked at a desk. I'm either dancing around my kitchen or on a hike in the woods or rocking out to some music in my car. Well, I drive a Jeep, so I have my phone up, on the dashboard, and I can actually see my balance change. But
That sounds like a
I'd like
trader
to,
who loves what he's doing. It's
that's it.
a hell of a lot better than digging a ditch, right, brother?
Hey, brother, it sure is, man. So I'm gonna post some of my favorite songs to trade to, and hopefully other people who
Yeah,
do this.
put it in the comments or the what do you call it? Put it in that section there where we
Uh,
we can write in the
yeah,
description. That's what it is. It's a description. This is our
yeah,
second
there you go.
podcast. We got to get our terms right.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
all
Yeah,
right.
man.
Well, I enjoyed it. I'll talk to you later, and we'll crank it up tomorrow. Sound good?
Sounds good. Have a great
All right.
pickleball session. All
All
right.
right. Thanks, man. Bye.